And welcome back to another UNC Football Tar Heels recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you happen to be watching us on our growing YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our Director of Football Recruiting, Miss Deana King. And Deana, big day for Carolina. Anytime there's a commitment, especially in this class of 22, because it's going to be so small, it's a very big day for Carolina football recruiting. Beau Atkinson, a four-star weak side defensive end from Leesville Road High School right here in Raleigh, has announced he will play for the Tar Heels. 6'6", 240 pounds, the number 234 overall prospect in the nation. So he's in the Rivals 250. He's number 13 at his position nationally, the number 7 prospect in the state of North Carolina. He chose the Tar Heels over a Final Three that included Miami and Michigan. In fact, he was at Michigan just a few days ago on an official visit. Had a great time. But you got a little insight about something that happened afterward, and may have been an indicator that Beau was going to pop for the Tar Heels. He is the 5th member of Carolina's class of 2022, which we believe will be probably no more than 14 kids deep. So what are your thoughts, Deana, on Beau Atkinson announcing he will play for Mack Brown and the Tar Heels?
You mentioned he's the second in-state kid. They've already got Malachi Hamrick out of Shelby. Getting Beau was really big. He's right in Carolina's backyard, Raleigh. And as you know, Mack is starting to make some really big headway in the Raleigh area. He got
Diego
Pounds in class of 21, and he got Jonathan Adorno the class before. And we know Raleigh has always had some great talent, and sometimes that talent goes out of state, a la Keith Marshall, Dexter Lawrence, Bryce Love, Braxton Berrios. So it's nice to keep the homeboys in state.
A lot of them head on down to Raleigh as well to play at NC State. Braxton Berrios also was a Leesville Road kid, and he played at Miami. Miami was one of the 3 finalists. So was Michigan. Beau Atkinson was in Ann Arbor over the weekend, had a fantastic visit. But what happened afterward?
Well, like we've seen a lot of these kids, they go on these visits and they'll drop back by campus at Chapel Hill, and he was on his way back home and decided just to stop by in the Keenan Football Center and speak to Coach Brown. And so we kind of estimate what happened in that conversation. So it's a big day for Carolina anytime they get a recruit. We hinted back on some earlier podcasts that June was going to be on fire, and it's going to be an exciting time for UNC. They've got a lot of good prospects out there, and they're in a lot of these recruiting races. And they just picked up a kid from battling two schools that historically are really big time programs in Michigan and Miami. Even though they're in transition right now, their historical and traditions are really up there.
Beau Atkinson was on the radar, but really erupted on the radar in the last month or so. He visited Carolina in early June unofficially, or got the offer. Then he visited you guys 2 days later. Is this an example of what you've talked about all spring and even in the winter, that, look, a lot of the local kids are going to have to wait until after their spring seasons, after they're evaluated, maybe even after the staff gets to see them in person before they actually extend the offer? Because Beau Atkinson was a big dude and a really good player in 2019, but he's a bigger dude now and a better player now, and the staff finally got a chance to see him in person and see sort of a full season here this spring. Is that what this case is? A kid that just had to wait for spring to play through and visits to begin happening?
Exactly. With no football in the fall, and the coaches really couldn't see him. And we mentioned North Carolina had spring football, so they actually got to see him in action. 7 games, and those 7 games were important. I believe he had around 34 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 5 sacks in 7 games. Leesville finished 5-2 this spring season, and you know, this class of 2022 is hurt them, but once the staff, and we know how the staff goes through this evaluation process, it goes through multiple channels before it gets to Mack, and Mack absolutely has the final say so on when an offer goes out. But yeah, I agree. He's just kind of a victim of this lack of exposure, the COVID, and everything, and he's really exploded. He was not even in the Rivals 250. He was a 4-star, so the talent and the abilities there, but actually seeing him in person, his stock is skyrocketed. So
Yeah, and the manner that Carolina was kind of forced to go about this with a lot of these kids that are in state or even in Virginia, which didn't have a fall season either, they played this spring up there in the Commonwealth, was that at least when Carolina established serious interest, it was able to quickly put on a full court press and had an impact. I think in this case, from reading from afar, it looked like the splash of interest that Carolina was able to thrust on this kid really had an impact because, he's willing to go to Miami, willing to visit Michigan. That means staying home, close to home, wasn't a very huge factor for him. I'm sure it was part of the factor, but he was willing to go pretty far away to play college football. So I would think that this burst of interest from Carolina really resonated very well with him.
he even had official visits scheduled for Cal.
Yeah.
And so Carolina offered the 4th. He visited the 6th, had a great time. As you mentioned before, went to Michigan on an official. He had been down to Miami. I've seen, if you don't follow these kids on social media, and you about had to during this time, it's a crazy time. So he liked those 3 schools. Um, it makes me think of a kid right here sees what's going on at UNC and what Mack is building, and the projectile of this program keeps going up and up and up and up, and he sees the opportunity, and with the class size of the 2022, we know Carolina's not taking that many, and there's not many spots left.
Yeah.
And if you want to get on the Mack train, you better say something now. And so he wanted his spot, so he's now Tar Heel.
Before we close this out, I want to add one other little note and get your thoughts on that. But very quickly, remind everybody we have an amazing special going on at Tar Heel Illustrated right now. Go on over to our site, sign up now. Everything is free until August 10th. You could have been on the Beau Atkinson train here and Deana's Dandies and the different threads that we have on the board with the notes she's been updating stuff. And the last couple of days had a pretty good idea that this might possibly happen, but you can only get that information if you were signed up. It is free until August 10th, so hop on board and take advantage of that right now. The other element here, I think, is an academic side. You got a kid who's offered by Yale. He was going to perhaps go to California, which is a really good school. Michigan's an outstate, one of the top public universities in the country. Miami's a good school. It's a private school. A lot of people don't realize it's a private school. I've seen the football facilities at Miami and Michigan. They're off the charts. Carolinas are in that neighborhood too. So what we're seeing North Carolina do on the football side, where it has often attracted kids that are very intrigued by the academics there and a chance to play big time football. Now what you've got is Carolina can compete in a lot of ways with the Michigan football mindset, the Miami football mindset, plus the academic side. And I think that the full package is also part of the deal here with Beau Atkinson.
And out of his three finalists. Miami, we pick at you all the time. Miami's a great place.
I
You
love
you
it.
rub it in on us to go into cover the Hurricanes when the Tar Heels play the Hurricanes and the Orange Bowl. How nice a weather it is. You got a lot of nice sunshine, and then up in Michigan, we know how it could be up in Michigan, and then he knows what it is. The
I've been
weather.
to Berkeley too. I've been to all those football complexes. Michigan's is amazing. It's unbelievable there. Cal's is nice in a Cal kind of way. I wouldn't be that intrigued to go to school there. Miami's, I was there 3 times in 24 days. Have I told you that? Back in December, football game, Orange Bowl, basketball game. Yeah, I did tell you that. I rubbed that in
But
on you.
but he knows the weather in North Carolina. You have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Mom and dad is close by, just can be almost at every game if have to, because North Carolina
It's right down the road.
really in the middle of the ACC, and family and friends can come watch him play. And let's not forget Mack's message to all these kids. It's family. He makes, in talking to all these recruits, he makes these kids feel just like his own family. He's treating them like his own sons. I mean,
They're going into his house now, Deana.
he really cares about the kids. Sally's involved, and it's just in talking to all these kids, that's one of the common themes that it is, and it branches out from Matt to his own coaching staff. It's a lot of great coaches there, a lot of great family guys that these kids really take a liking to.
Beau Atkinson, 4-star weak side defensive end from Leesville Road High School in Raleigh. He's a member of the Rivals 250, ranked number 234 overall nationally in the class of 2022. Number 13 in his position. He's the number 7 kid in the state of North Carolina. He is the most recent big-time prospect to announce he will play football for the Tar Heels. She is Deana King. I am Andrew Jones. Don't forget, go to our site, sign up now. It's free until August 10th. Everything is free until August 10th. Thanks for stopping by.